Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. We got to talk about the Braxton sisters because the girls have taken a new low. I think they need to get off reality TV because nothing has been resolved between the sisters. They have regressed horribly. It seems like Tamar is more out of control. The sisters hate each other. I think Towanda hates Tamar. Even Toni stood up and was about to fight. I was like, whoa, this has gotten out of hand. But yeah, the reason why the sisters were going at it is because Tamar was upset because she felt like the sisters sent her a cease and desist letter over her interview with their niece, Ashley Braxton. Now, Ashley has been exposing some family secrets. She was talking about how she was abused. She was talking about how her aunt Trina's husband, Gabe, was sexting her when she was 16 years old. And Trina stopped talking to her over that incident. And Tamar was like, nah, we have to give her a platform to speak out about this because this is crazy. And also Tamar didn't want Ashley to be silenced the way that she was because Tamar also dealt with some abuse in her childhood. But when she did that interview with Ashley, she received a cease and desist letter and she confronted her sisters about it. And that whole conversation took a turn for the worse. Now, I will say this. Tamar was out of control in this scene. She was. And I like Tamar. I'm actually a fan of hers, but she was doing a lot. She was doing a lot. However, her sisters were gaslighting her so much and it triggered her to the point that she lost complete control. Her sisters were acting like they didn't know who sent her that cease and desist. They knew. Their family lawyer sent it. They knew who was behind it. And more than likely, it was their brother Michael because their brother didn't want his daughter Ashley speaking out. But also the other sisters didn't want Ashley speaking either. Trina didn't want her to speak because it would expose how messed up she is because she's the one who cut her own niece off and blamed her niece over what her husband Gabe did. Her grown husband was inappropriately texting her underage niece, but she blamed her niece. That says a lot about Trina. So I honestly think they were aware of this cease and desist. However, Tamar wasn't, and she was very upset about it.
One of y'all gave this my address. By sending a cease and desist, it's shutting down my business. You know, the whole Ashley situation, you know, they got upset with me because I reached out to her and I was willing to give her a platform to tell her story. They didn't like it. And so they all stopped talking to me. And so I am not supposed to bring it up. I'm not supposed to say anything. The only thing that brings us together is the cameras.
Now, one of the ways Tamar was gaslighted was when she brought up the fact that it was Toni who suggested to bring Ashley on the Braxtons. Toni denied it.
I told Toni Braxton, I am getting Ashley here. And then when Toni said we need to have her on the show, I'm thinking like a producer.
I told you we need to have Ashley on the show?
No, I never say that.
Yes, I never said that.
Toni denied this. However, in her confessional, she basically admitted that, yeah, she and Tamar talked about bringing Ashley on the Braxtons.
I just thought it would be more than fair to talk to Ashley or maybe have her on the Braxtons so that everyone involved could talk. I didn't realize Tamar took it literally and now she thinks I'm intentionally lying.
But Toni, you did lie. See, Toni is trying to play both sides because she does care what her other sisters think. She doesn't want to upset Trina, Towanda, or even her brother Michael. So she's letting them believe that she had no parts with the whole Ashley situation, but she did have a conversation with Tamar about bringing Ashley on the Braxtons. Now, I want to get into the Towanda piece because this one is a doozy. So the conversation went from being about a cease and desist to Towanda stealing from Tamar. Tamar called Towanda out for not paying her back for the down payment that Tamar spent on her home. And Towanda was lying and saying that was a gift. But in her bankruptcy filing, it showed that Tamar was listed as a creditor. She loaned the money to Towanda, but Towanda never paid it back. And Tamar can't collect now that Towanda filed bankruptcy.
I know where you live because I put down your down payment.
You sure did. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
You said I will pay you back the next day, and then you listed me as a creditor.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much.
So now it was a gift.
Oh, wow.
So I give away $50,000.
It was $50,000?
So Tamar gave me money for my down payment in 2018. She gave me $35,000. I have receipts. It was absolutely a gift.
It's not a gift. It's a loan. And it's clear that Towanda does not like Tamar at all, so she needs to give her her money back. Also, Towanda was put on blast for using Tamar's credit card to pay her phone bills.
Because I found out that Towanda has been using my credit card to pay her phone bill.
My phone bill?
I was getting a new phone line. That's when I found out that I was a part of Towanda's family plan. It was like 6 lines for 4 years. And I was paying for it all this time and didn't know it.
Now, I actually believe Tamar. I do. And Towanda clearly has money problems, and the sisters do try to help her from time to time. I know Toni does, and Tamar definitely has helped Towanda, but Towanda downplays it. Towanda doesn't like Tamar, and it's really crazy. Like, if you hate your sister so bad, why are you taking money from her? Why are you stealing? And after this whole money conversation, Towanda basically deflected and said, well, you were sleeping with Toni's man. It's almost like Towanda said, y'all gonna pay my bills or else I'm gonna spill all your secrets.
You don't want to go blow to blow with me because I know where all the bodies are buried, and I never exposed any of that information before.
But what you steal?
I don't steal anything.
You don't?
What I stole?
You sold men.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them.
Oh,
a few times.
Who? What man?
Stop.
What's the man? Don't play with me, Towanda. You
Tamar, shut up.
Yes, you did. You're
That's
liar.
a lie. No,
He
that
told
ain't
me
true. You know that ain't
oh,
true.
my Jesus.
Everybody knew what was going on between Tamar and Toni's ex, or Toni's boyfriend. And Tamar brings a false accusation up to say that I slept with him too. That's on the wrong street. That is not my address. I don't have mileage on my coochie.
Now, come to find out, this man that Towanda brought up was somebody from way back in the 90s. So it was crazy that Towanda brought that up to deflect from the fact that she was taking money from Tamar.
What makes you so angry that you want to do that to your little sister? For Towanda to bring something up that happened in 1995, we're in 2025 right now. Help me understand.
Tawanda's getting married. We're supposed to be all coming together as a family.
Towanda hasn't talked to me since the last Braxton taping.
So if this happened in 1995, I'm wondering if the man in question was Shamar Moore. But that's besides the point. Tamar mentioned that Towanda hasn't spoken to her since their last taping. And yeah, Towanda hasn't talked to her because she doesn't like her. And I know Tamar can be a lot, so I'm not gonna fully blame Towanda for distancing herself from Tamar, but at the same time, it's kind of weird that you could dislike somebody so much but still use them and take from them. She doesn't talk to Tamar, but she still wants her on the show because that's the only way that she could get a check. Because we all know that the Braxtons won't have a show without Tamar or Toni. Let's be real. Also, at the dinner table, they tried to use Tamar's mental health against her.
I don't argue with sick people. Go ahead.
Bitch, I will you up. Don't play
don't
with me.
do that.
I swear to God. But you're not going to do with my mental health when all y'all really need the pills. Guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to make me feel bad because I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. From y'all. Y'all don't like me because y'all jealous.
You're a mean girl. You're
lying. Oh, you're such a hater. Y'all hate me so bad. And mental illness is real. It's real. Oh, I'm crazy?
Mental illness is real.
That was low. That was very low. And I understand that Tamar is not completely innocent. You know, she was doing a lot. But to bring up her mental illness was a super low blow, even for Toni. Like, this conversation was initially about a cease and desist, but it turned into the sisters taking these low jabs at each other, and they were exposing each other. And when Towanda exposed that Tamar slept with Toni's man, Tamar looked back at Toni and said, well, do you think I slept with so-and-so too? And looking back at it now, I think she said, do you think I slept with Birdman too? That's when Toni got up and she was ready to fight Tamar. She was like, don't go there. Don't play with my man. Now, it was rumored that Tamar did briefly date Birdman back in the day before Toni had him. In fact, the rapper The Brat, who is Tamar's friend, reposted this report that Tamar dated Birdman briefly back in 2003. So if this is true, technically Birdman was Tamar's man first, but fast forward 20 years later, Birdman is now married to Toni. And I think it's possible that Toni might be a little uncomfortable with Tamar and Birdman's history, if they did in fact have a history. So I think that's probably why she reacted the way she did. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think.
You think I'm too? Huh?
Don't you go there.
Yo, man.
Don't you go there.
Now, Trina and Towanda jumped up. They came to protect Toni. Trina got in between Toni and Tamar. And Tamar thought that Trina pushed her when really Trina was just getting in between them. And Tamar decided to get physical. She grabbed Trina's hair and kicked her, which was so immature and ridiculous. Tamar needs to grow up. She really does. Like, she needs to learn how to control her emotions. It's really sad to watch her act the way she acts at her big age. It's not cute. And I get it. She was triggered and she was gaslit. And I don't think she was 100% in the wrong at all. If anything, the sisters were more in the wrong because they were playing in her face. But still, that didn't give Tamar a right to physically attack Trina. And I'm not going to overlook Toni standing up and bucking at Tamar either, because she was wrong too. But one thing I noticed that really turned me off was when Towanda wanted to press charges against Tamar. Can you imagine wanting your sister to go to jail over a family squabble? That showed me that Towanda doesn't only dislike her, but she hates Tamar.
Let's call the cops and press charges. Let's press charges on
Don't do that. I'm gone. I'm not doing that.
Now, I respect the fact that Toni sobered up and said, "No, I'm not calling the cops on my sister." Like, it's never that deep. But the fact that Towanda suggested it says a lot. That resentment she has for her little sister is deep. And I'm not going to act like Tamar is completely innocent, because she's not. We've seen how Tamar behaves. She's messy. She could be mean at times. She could be impulsive. She could do a lot of things. And I'm sure she has done and said a lot of things that have frustrated Towanda. I know Towanda still has resentment over the fact that Tamar left their singing group and signed a solo deal without telling them about it. And fast forward to when the Braxtons first launched their reality show, Towanda finally saw it as an opportunity to be a star, but she didn't get that shot. It was Tamar who actually became the star and married the rich husband and was able to make money and get opportunities outside of Toni. And I think Towanda felt a way about that. I think Towanda felt a way about a lot of things. I think she might have been ignored growing up. She probably wasn't praised as much for her singing voice as Toni or Tamar were. She didn't get as much attention because she was the middle child. She wasn't the oldest or the youngest. And also, she probably didn't get the same favor because she's the darkest sister. People don't want to talk about that, but I think colorism might also have a play there. So I think there's a lot of things that make Towanda resentful, and her jealousy of Tamar is evident to some people. In fact, there's a woman who claims to be the cousin of the Braxtons. Her name is Lachey Braxton. She even said that Towanda was always jealous.
I'm going to say my little 2 cents on the Braxtons, because as you all may well know, my last name is Braxton, and yes, those are my cousins. I'm going to say this. Towanda has always been jealous of Toni and Tamar. Towanda has always been seen in the background as the background singer. So when it comes to the spotlight and the income and the money, there you have it. Pure jealousy. And everything goes all the way back and starts back with the head of the household. They were taught. Everything that you see these young ladies do on the screen, this ain't for cameras at all. I got stories and stories of family reunions. This ain't for cameras at all. This is exactly how they act. Towanda has always been the messy and sneaky one. Her and Trina. They have always been messy and sneaky. Their whole entire lives, this is how they are. And they've always been jealous of Toni and Tamar. Toni being the oldest, Tamar being the baby girl. They have always been jealous. And for the simple fact that your sister paid your down payment and you continue to keep dragging her, watch what Tamar do.
I thought it was interesting when the cousin mentioned that it all starts at the head. It really does start with the parents, you know. I think the favoritism and how they treated some of the children, and even overlooking and suppressing some of the abuse that was happening. That really affected the sisters, and this is why they are the way they are now. It's really sad, but anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.